Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today for a thought from the Bible from here in Monrovia in Liberia in West Africa. Now, I recently found myself watching a video on the internet which was about a woman who decided to take part in a figure skating competition despite the fact that she had absolutely no experience of ice skating. She did a load of training, tried to master all the spins on the ice and the jumps and all of those complicated moves. And then the moment came of the competition, and in this final routine that she had been practicing, right near the start, she fell over on the ice. And it looked like it could have been the end, but instead she got back up and she carried on. And there was a quote that she said that just has stayed with me this week. She explained that she had wanted to do something perfect under pressure. Or maybe she couldn't do that, but she could fall under pressure and get back up. And that got me thinking about this idea of failure. I think that we all want to be perfect. We want to get everything right all of the time. It's not nice thinking about making mistakes. It's not nice thinking about getting it wrong and what people may think about us and what that may mean for our lives. We like to get things right. And if you're anything like me, then past failures can have a little habit of haunting you. I've recently been wondering about starting a new writing exercise, a way to get myself writing fiction on a regular basis again, publishing serial snippets of writing to an email newsletter, and it's an idea that I've been quite excited about. I like the idea, and yet I haven't started. Why? Well, if I'm really honest and if I really think about it, I fear failing at it. I fear working at it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and finding that the only people reading it are my parents. Love you, Mum and Dad, my biggest fans. You know, I can look back on everything through my life that I started, all the things that seemed like a great idea at the time, seemed like just the right thing to be doing, and then all of those things that went nowhere, all the things that I failed at. And it's easy to look back at my first novel that I published that didn't sell thousands and thousands of copies and make me a best-selling author. It's easy even to look at these videos, some of them which haven't had many views, and feel like, well, am I failing at that? What's the point? I think that we all can feel like that when we look back at the things in our lives. Fear of failure stops me from doing something that could be great. And it might not be. That's the fact of the matter. But it could be. And if nothing else, I would learn through it. I would improve my skills in it. It would make me a better writer. It would not be a worthless endeavor. And yet fear of failure stops me. I wonder if you've ever been there. I wonder if you've ever replayed failures or even imagined failures in your mind. I wonder if you've ever really wanted to do something but stopped in case it all went wrong, in case it worked out like last time and nothing really came of it. And maybe it's not even that specific. Maybe there can be a sense of feeling like a failure in general. I should have done more with my life. I've not made the most of my opportunities. God must be disappointed in me. Those are common thoughts. And you're not alone if you've been there before. But the great news, firstly, is that yes, you may have failed in your life. You may have made mistakes. You may have let opportunities pass you by. You may have failed. But that does not make you a failure. And if there is one thing that I hope that you take away from this video today, then it is that you are not a failure. God is not disappointed in you. He is not. He loves you. He is pleased with you. The Bible tells us that he takes great delight in us. He rejoices over us with singing. You may have failed, but you are not a failure. And God is not and will never be disappointed in who you are. That is a reassuring thought today. But if you do find yourself in that place where you have failed, or if you feel failure going forward in something specific, well, that's okay too. You're not alone in that place either. This week I found myself reading about one of the biggest moments of failure found in the Bible. It's in Luke chapter 22. But he, Peter, replied, "Lord, I am ready to go with you to prison and to death." Jesus answered, "I tell you, Peter, before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me." We know what happens next. Peter, the disciple of Jesus. Peter, who has spent 3 years of his life full-time living and breathing and working with God on earth, learning from him. Peter, who recognized that this Jesus is in fact the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Peter, who would fail in that moment of pressure. Peter replied, "Man, I don't know what you're talking about." And just as he was speaking, the rooster crowed. The Lord turned and looked straight at Peter. Then Peter remembered the word the Lord had spoken to him. "Before the rooster crows today, you will disown me 3 times." And he went outside and wept bitterly. Just imagine the weight of that moment of failure. He must have felt that he had disappointed God. He must have felt that he had made the biggest possible mistake, that there was no coming back from this. And in fact, it would have been so easy for him to walk away, to give up, to refuse to ever do anything in God's service again, believing that the same thing would happen, believing that he would mess up, that he would make a mistake, that he would fail. And yet we read in the book of Acts that he doesn't do that. He does get back up. Despite the failure, despite having failed, despite having fallen, he stands in front of a crowd of thousands and boldly proclaims the gospel message, and 3,000 people become believers that day. Yes, he failed, but he got back up again. The fact is, you will fail in life. There will be moments where you make mistakes. There will be moments where it all goes wrong. There will be moments when things don't pan out the way that you wanted them to. There will be moments of failure. The question is, will you get back up again? Will you remind yourself that God still loves you, that he still delights in you, that he still cares for you, that he will still guide you and lead you and walk with you? Will you remind yourself that yes, you may have failed, but you are not a failure, that God is not disappointed in you, that he's not sorry that he made you, that there is still another chance? Will you try again? We learn so much through those moments where we fail. if we can look past the pain of it, the rawness of it. It's in those hard moments where we grow, where we improve, where we can come back to God again and say, yes, I may have messed up here. Yes, I've made a mistake. Yes, I've failed, but I am ready to try again. I am ready to get back up and to walk with you and to work with you once more. I'm ready to learn from you. I'm ready to believe that you have not given up on me, even if I had given up on myself. Let's go. You may have failed. You may fail in the future, but you are not a failure. Thank you so much for joining me for that thought from the Bible. I'll be back on Wednesday next week with another video, so I will see you then.